If Sarada and Sumire have to become victims to support Boruto getting stronger, who is between them? So, yeah, still on Boruto Chapter 25 vibes. I'm Nim without E. Let's talk about love triangle. As we know, facts always prove that love triangles always end tragically. Even if not tragic, at least love triangles will give birth to a disappointment in the end for one of the three. Because in the Naruto universe, there is a lot of evidence that shows that love triangles end tragically. But with a sacrifice, it actually generates extraordinary strength. And even though the case of the love triangle in the Boruto era is quite different, because Sumire and Sarada support each other and neither of them can resist the feelings of love for the same man, does that mean that Boruto will get both of them at once? I think this is quite crazy, because actually, even though Sumire and Sarada support each other and don't really compete to get Boruto, there should and must be one who will be the future partner for Boruto himself. But if we go back to the main point of who will be the victim and how a love triangle is always not going to run smoothly, even without disappointments and such, let's look at an example that has already happened in the Naruto era. You guys should still remember the love triangle between Kakashi, Obito, and Rin. And honestly, this love story is quite complicated and very ironic. Because how could it not be? Obito had strong feelings for Rin Nohara, but unfortunately, Rin instead had deeper feelings for Kakashi himself. And the ironic part is, Kakashi didn't really care much about his own feelings toward Rin in the first place. Yeah, their love triangle is honestly a complicated and sad one compared to some other love triangles. But if we compare this with Boruto himself, if he likes Sarada and doesn't like Sumire, then Sarada would definitely also like Boruto. But if it's the other way around, where Boruto likes Sumire and doesn't like Sarada, Boruto would still receive the same feelings, since he shares the same feelings towards Sumire as well, right? But maybe what will be the plot twist at the end? Does Boruto also like Sarada or Sumire, or even Boruto doesn't like both? This is what has not been revealed for sure so far. And back to another point about the love triangle between Rin, Kakashi, and Obito. From such a complicated love triangle, Masashi actually made a plot twist where Rin died to strengthen the characters of the two, Kashi and Obito. So instead of giving a perfect ending to the love triangle, what happened was a tragic moment. As another example between Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura, as the main character, Naruto, since in the Ninja Academy, and became a team with Sakura and Sasuke, Naruto showed an interest in Sakura. But unfortunately, Sakura liked Sasuke, who Sasuke himself did not like Sakura. Although their love triangle did not end tragically like the story of Obito, Rin, and Kakashi, at first Sasuke was a bit like Kakashi, not paying much attention to matters of the heart, and then again. Although their ending is not as bad as Kakashi's, it does not rule out the fact that the love triangle between them also almost ended tragically. Sasuke, who has no heart and almost killed Sakura, indirectly makes Naruto as a protector try to continue to be stronger. But for the case of love triangles in the Naruto universe, at its core, there is always a conflict or competition that in order to get someone they love, it will not be that easy. There will always be competition. Competition, even to achieve the perfect ending or even the worst, will not always run smoothly without any obstacles. In other words, of all the love triangles that have ever happened, all of them ended in different ways. And that means even though we can't definitively conclude that the ending of Sumire and Sarada will end up with one of them having to be sacrificed to support Boruto getting stronger, is it possible that this could happen again? Besides, because Boruto's principle is to make sure that the threat in this world must be eliminated first, Boruto will also make his own path that leads to whether he will die or will end up with one of the women. And that means neither Sumire nor Sarada will get Boruto. But if we're still talking about Sumire or even Sarada, have you ever thought that there's a concept that maybe Ikemoto will create an era where history will be created with a different era? That is, we know that Sumire and Sarada's personalities are certainly different. Moreover, Sarada has a pretty difficult dream of becoming a Hokage. And when it comes to the attitude between Sarada and Sumire, it's clear that there are significant emotional differences between them. For example, if you still remember Sumire and Sarada's arc with Ida, the response between the two of them, knowing that Boruto was bearing the burden alone in order to protect his village, the response of Sarada and Sumire really shows a significant difference. Even about it, the response of each fan is also there to blame Sarada or even Sumire too. Sarada seems to want to be at the forefront and give whatever power she has to help Boruto. Although, in the end, that power can't be a guarantee that it will be useful and helpful enough for Boruto. But at least, even though Sarada doesn't have enough resources, including enough information, Sarada's concern for Boruto shows that she really can't just silent and wait without taking any action. While Sumire. When Sarada has such strong ambitions, Sumire actually looks more calm and considerate. Moreover, the resources she has are so limited. Sumire seems to be more careful to help Boruto, and she even said that if she forced something that was not from Boruto's own wishes, it would actually be troublesome for Boruto himself. And until the final point, Sumire also really appreciates Boruto's every decision, even though it is something difficult for Boruto himself. Well, from two attitudes that provoke different responses from each of their ages. Those who are still quite young, not a few think that Sarada is the best because her love is something that really has to be sacrificed and done, rather than just staying silent. But on the other hand, for some adults, of course, not a few think that Sumire is actually more rational because she thinks more calmly, unhurriedly, and thoughtfully. Moreover, Sumire doesn't want to end up becoming a burden and a trouble for Boruto himself. But just so you know, I'm not taking sides here. I'm not saying Sarada is better or Sumire is better or even that one of them is more worthy of being Boruto's partner. Nope. I'll just let you guys decide for yourselves based on what's actually happened and on how each of them acts whenever Boruto's in trouble. In other words, I'm staying in the middle, neutral. But one thing I can take from these few points, somehow Sumire's role is something that is very suitable to support Sarada to become Hokage. More precisely, Sumire really has the capacity to support Sarada in making decisions if, in the end, Sarada becomes Hokage. In other words, it also seems like Ikemoto wants to create a new history, where a Hokage comes from the Uchiha clan and the Hokage's advisor is a woman. And as a final conclusion, if in the end this love triangle will end tragically, where one of them must be sacrificed to support the main character to become stronger, who is more worthy of sacrifice? Sumire or Sarada? But the ending of all this is a worst-case scenario, then that choice is an exception, meaning Boruto ending with death, neither Sumire or Sarada will get Boruto's love. And about that, if another ending makes Sarada the first Hokage of the Uchiha clan, is Sumire very competent to fill the position of Hokage advisor? Let me know in the comments. So yeah, thanks for watching, like and subs. I'm Nim without E. See you in the next video. Bye bye Data Bio.